I've always been known in the businesses that I've been working for that you've kind of alluded to, and some big name brands and some not so big name brands, to go, I think HR sometimes, L&D sometimes has a reputation. I'd be interested in your thoughts on this as well, that, it's a little bit fluffy and, they do things because they do things and they're not very intentional about it. So I very early on became very clear, and I wanted my teams to be really intentional about the services that were offered from a learning and development standpoint, or if we were asked to go in and look at why attrition was really high in an organization, or there was another opportunity, really digging into why that was. So it could be, I guess, really intentional in our approach to try to resolve that business problem, which should, hopefully, if it's done well, really solve a people issue too. So I think sometimes we get a little bit lost in, or have done previously in HR L&D, it's a little bit fluffy, and I've heard that from so many executives and CEOs over my years. And it's a little bit of a bugbear, because if you are really, smart around your people strategy and intentional, the return you get there is, as so meaningful.
So has the focus been to be part of that strategic, let's say, people and culture space? Has that been more of a focus with your L&D work? I suppose the first thing is, what is learning development? For those who are listening right now, as you said, some would potentially look at it as training and maybe a bit of the, I hate to say it, softer skills side. But what would you say, or what would you define learning development from your perspective?
Yeah. For me, it's an intentional framework to grow the business and grow its people. And, really going, where is the best return for both of those things? What does so-and-so want to develop and grow into, and where's their career step? But how does that fit into real business problems that we're trying to solve for? And sometimes I've seen, it's really just a Band-Aid, and, perhaps not looked upon as, training or coaching or deliberate interventions that actually need to be embedded. And I think that's where I see the best learning and development programs, is something that's not a once-off, it's not a training session, it's not a workshop. And of course, those things are important, but really what's the intentional strategy from then onwards to really embed that change and ensure that there is return there from that point, whatever that may be. We just developed and designed a learning program that was for 26 leaders, and measurably after that 10-month period, we could attribute a return of $1.2 million value to that organization by looking at the statistics and what the organization was trying to achieve before, midpoint, and end point. And really a lot of that, which is interesting, came down to what has the leadership impact been. And we were able to track 200 pieces of impact that those leaders had on the business, whether that was articulating a business case, differently to what they had previously done, whether that was to have a courageous conversation. It's all of those things that really make a difference to your people capability and the success of your business, in my opinion.